WWE star says Liv Morgan may return as babyface and feud with her. She isn't in the Judgment Day. Liv Morgan has had a great run on Monday Night Raw for the past 15 months, during which she became the Women's World Champion and Women's Tag Team Champion with her friend Raquel Rodriguez. She emerged as a top heel in WWE and was about to kick off a new feud in the Red brand against one of the greatest female wrestlers of all time, Nikki Bella. However, Morgan unfortunately sustained a legitimate shoulder injury during a match against Kairi Sane on Raw. The Judgment Day member will be out for several months, forcing WWE Creative to drop their plans for her. Meanwhile, Nikki Bella was on Busted Open Radio recently, where she addressed the possibility of a feud with Liv Morgan once the latter returns, even if the former had a character change and came back as a top babyface. "I would love that story to play out. I want to do things that when she comes back, gives so many layers of heated, like, even if she comes back as a massive babyface. But I want to do things in the meantime that elevate a story even more than we can imagine. Now, we have all this cool stuff to work with, and the beauty of pro wrestling is not only the stuff we do in the ring, but it's the build-up, the story, especially when it's personal," Nikki Bella said. H/T, Wrestling Incorporated. The former Divas champion will make her in-ring return this Saturday night, when WWE hosts the All-Women's Evolution 2 Premium Live event in Atlanta. Roxanne Perez replaces Liv Morgan in the Judgment Day and becomes one half of the Women's Tag Team Champions. Roxanne Perez moved from NXT to Raw and has become part of the Judgment Day storyline, initially through a mini-feud with Liv Morgan. The latter's injury shifted plans, and the prodigy joined the faction permanently. She even stepped pen in to become one half of the Women's Tag Team Champions with Raquel Rodriguez. Raw GM Adam Pearce made the change official under the condition that Rodriguez and Perez would defend their titles in a fatal four-way match at Evolution 2. Their opponents have now been revealed, with one tag team from Raw, Asuka and Kairi Sane, the Kabuki Warriors, one from NXT, Sol Ruka and Zarya, and one from SmackDown, Alexa Bliss and Charlotte Flair, respectively. 10 most frustrating decisions WWE have made this year, so far. 2025, the year in which WWE showed the difference between getting over and staying over. What a difference a year makes. Back in 2024, WWE looked untouchable. Cody Rhodes was riding high as the company's most popular babyface champion since Daniel Bryan. Veteran performers like Liv Morgan and Jey Uso were having breakout years, and new signings to the roster were getting over faster than you could say all gas, no brakes. Halfway through 2025, however, it's becoming increasingly clear that WWE are starting to run on fumes. To be fair, no promotion stays hot forever. However, WWE's cooling-off period is all the more frustrating for how easily it could have been avoided. Rather than building on the success of the previous year, the company have allowed themselves to make the same mistake of every market leader in history, forgetting the practices that put them on top in the first place. Between dethroning popular champions, cooling off molten-hot heels and failing to capitalize on new signings, 2025 has seen wrestling's biggest promotion zig when it should have zagged, turn right when it made more sense to go left, and generally acted like the people in charge took their business lessons from a screening of the producers. However, while the leads and the producers failed in their quest to create a flop, WWE have managed to one-up them by succeeding in their apparent quest to snatch defeat from the jaws of victory. After all, that would certainly explain decisions like get 76% off, 4 free months, and a free Amazon gift card when you sign up to NordVPN. Doing practically nothing with IYO. If you'll indulge a little workshop talk, the photos used in What Culture articles come from a carefully curated media library. As time marches on, new photos are added to the archive for authors' use. For example, there have been 10 new Liv Morgan photos added since WrestleMania weekend, and over a dozen ones featuring Rhea Ripley. Iyo Sky, on the other hand? 2 new photos in 3 months, a depressing statistic that sums up just how much WWE haven't been using one of their greatest performers, and Raw Women's Champion as of July 10th, no less. Fresh off having the best WrestleMania match for the second year in a row, you'd think WWE would want their most informed wrestler in action every single week. Yet in the past 3 months, WWE have barely given Iyo screen time, let alone ring time. Yes, WWE have finally got the ball rolling by having her interact with Liv Morgan and Rhea Ripley recently, but that doesn't excuse the previous months of near inactivity. What was the point of having Iyo win at WrestleMania if the plan was to treat her like an afterthought? Iyo is arguably the best in-ring talent in the entire WWE, which makes it all the more baffling the company have kept the genius of the Sky grounded for so long. Nikki Bella hopes to work with injured WWE star. Nikki Bella still hopes to face Liv Morgan in the ring when she returns from injury. Morgan injured her shoulder during a match with Kairi Sane on WWE Raw last month. The injury came at a bad time, as WWE had planned for Morgan to start a feud with Bella, leading to a possible match at WWE Evolution. However, the injury forced Morgan out of action for several months, causing those plans to be dropped. Despite this, Nikki Bella still hopes to have a match with Morgan in the future. Speaking on Busted Open Radio, Bully Ray suggested a future storyline where Liv Morgan returns and targets Bella, blaming her for taking her spot on the main roster. Nikki said, "I would love that story to play out. I want to do things that when she comes back, gives so many layers of heated, like, even if she comes back as a massive babyface. But I want to do things in the meantime that elevate a story even more than we can imagine. Now, we have all this cool stuff to work with, and the beauty of pro wrestling is not only the stuff we do in the ring, but it's the build-up, the story, especially when it's personal. And it's not even about the fight, it's about everything outside of the fight that we bring into the fight." H/T, Wrestling Inc. Nikki Bella confirms her WWE return isn't short-term. On Busted Open Radio, Nikki Bella revealed, "I'm so excited for Evolution," Nikki Bella said. "It brings me back to the first one. It was such a different energy being backstage and being all women and the whole show being about women. It's unexplainable. I'm so fired up for this weekend. Everyone is going to crush it and everything is coming together so great. Everyone who is going to be there is in for such a treat. I'm so excited to be part of the Battle Royal. I want that big moment. To have such a big moment, I really want to win because it's the perfect way to start a big comeback. A comeback that is not just here for a month or two, it's here for a while. Sometimes things work in funny ways and the Liv story, maybe that would have been it. Now, the Battle Royal opens up to a whole new beginning of things. Belair's injury absence adds wild card element. Bianca Belair's recent injury absence has kept her largely out of the escalating conflict between her former partners. This distance might work in her favor as the special guest referee, potentially allowing her to maintain some level of objectivity. However, the EST's history with both women creates an unpredictable dynamic that could swing the match in either direction. Her personal relationships with both competitors make every call potentially controversial. No-holds-barred stipulation raises the stakes. The no-holds-barred stipulation removes all traditional wrestling restrictions, allowing both women to use any means necessary to secure victory. With no disqualifications possible, the only way to win is through pinfall or submission. This environment perfectly suits the personal nature of their conflict, giving both Naomi and Cargill the freedom to unleash their full fury without worrying about rule violations. Will Bianca Belair's presence as special guest referee bring justice to this heated rivalry? Or will her own complicated history with both women create even more chaos at Evolution? The answer lies in what promises to be one of the most emotionally charged matches of the year. Toni Storm escorted by security at StarCast amid Liv Morgan stalker fallout. Toni Storm showed up at StarCast today, but not without serious backup. Ringside News obtained footage of the AEW star being escorted to her panel table by a security, an unusual scene that had fans at the convention asking questions. While no incident occurred at the event, the extra protection didn't go unnoticed. With recent headlines about real-life safety concerns for wrestlers, It's clear AEW and StarCast organizers aren't taking any chances. The timing is especially significant following the disturbing situation involving WWE's Liv Morgan, who dealt with a stalker showing up armed at her Florida home. Back in May, Canadian man Sean Chan allegedly traveled from Scarborough, Ontario, to Florida under the guise of visiting the WWE Performance Center. Instead, he went directly to Morgan's private residence. According to the federal complaint, surveillance footage captured Chan scoping out her home, looking for spare keys, and eventually arming himself with a .177 pellet rifle found on her porch. He then sat outside for over 2 hours before leaving a chilling note among her packages. "Liv, Gianna, it's me, Sean, the guy you all hang out with on FF2 online," the letter read. "I came here to pay just a friendly visit, nothing more, yet I'm the one who looks like a stalker thanks to all of you." In a podcast breakdown of the federal charges,